Two, one. Hey, what's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to another episode of a Frugal Athlete podcast. Today, we got a very, very special guest, someone I had the fortunate pleasure of meeting not too long ago. Someone that does a little bit of everything. Like, if I had enough time to, talk about his accolades, talk about his resume, that would take up the most of the show. So we're going to get right into it. Mr. Coach Claudio Reilsono. How you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me on. I've been looking forward to doing this with you. Love your show, love your work. So thank you.
Nah, thank you. So let's get into it. For those that don't know, Coach Claudio, who is Coach Claudio? What are the many things that you do? And just give us a quick rundown.
Okay, well, I am the general manager and professional baseball scout with the Global Scouting Bureau. I've been doing that for 21 years. I am also the head baseball coach at Carnegie Mellon University. I've been doing that for 17 years. I've been coaching or scouting for 39 total. I host a podcast, Claudio Reilsono Show, where I interviewed such great people such as yourself, Mario Andretti, Ken Griffey Sr., Jerry Cooney, a bunch of guys. And then I also host another show. We'll get to more of that a little bit later, called Monday Night Impact. I own a landscaping business. I do some speaking. I wrote a book about a year and a half ago called Lead from the Heart Up, Not the Neck Up, How to Create a Positive Winning Culture on the Field and in the Office. I started a coaching consulting business. And how can I forget? I host I'm on a great boxing TV show with two great guys, Luther Dupree Jr. and Smoking Jim Frazier, called The Boxing Authorities. We've been picked up by the WBC Live 24/7 channel and Vive Television Network. So that was a big thing for us, and co-host the Steel City Sports World. So I do all kind of stuff, like you said.
No, you see what I'm talking about? So that's what I meant. We have a very special guest. First things first, this is a frugal athlete. Frugal, I like to tell people, it's how you can be efficient, how you can be economical, how you can be prudent. So how are you efficient? How are you frugal with your time to be able to do all these different things at a high level? What's your secret?
As far, time management, how many times we might get stuck looking at Facebook or TikTok or whatever. If we kept I don't keep a log, but if we say to ourselves, well, I just don't have time to do all that stuff. I have time to do all these things and be a husband and a father, and not just, they say quality time or quantity time. I spend a lot of time, a lot of quality quantity time, excuse me. So you manage your time, instead of wasting it. I'm not saying don't do things you enjoy. I mean, if you enjoy something, that's great. But maybe we spend a little bit too much time on emails or Facebook or Twitter or whatever. Maybe save 10 minutes here, 15 minutes there, and now you have a half hour. I'm able to do all these things because, like, for example, the CMU season is from February to, let's say, late April. And we start again in September to late October, early November. And in between, you talk to recruits and things like that. The scouting is 12 months out of the year. I also train baseball training. I do that in a way. I pretty much do that, I'd say, 10 months out of the year. The landscaping is a good 8-9 months out of the year. So the speaking comes when it comes, and the coaching. So somehow I make it work. And I enjoy it. One time I was asked, but again, to answer your question, I don't waste time. I just don't waste time. I don't have time to waste. I'm always moving. I don't do things at a slow pace. I compartmentalize. Whenever I'm coaching, I don't do anything else but coach. When I'm scouting, I do anything but scouting. So, and when I'm doing TV, I just do TV. We tape 2 shows a week for the Boxing Authorities, all in one day. And then I'll rush home and do my show, it works. I make it work.
No, I love that. And I think it's a great testament to people that say, oh, you don't have enough time. You can't be a jack of all trades, but you're a living testament to it. And you're someone I look up to when it comes to when, I had the fortunate pleasure of coming on your podcast. I was like, wait, how is this possible? And I thought I had it bad. But it is possible if you compartmentalize, if you time manage, if you're efficient. And I think it's a testament to, as we are both in this space, athletes that want to do more. It is possible, and you can do a lot of different things and be successful at it. So I appreciate you sharing like your secret, but let's get into it. Like, did you always want to do all this stuff, or did it just come out?
My dad, Olindo, who worked in a steel mill for years and he had a landscaping business, he always used to tell me, never put all your eggs in one basket, right?
Mhm.
But I live in the same house I grew up in. So maybe about 10 feet from where I'm sitting right now, I announced August 19th, 1973. I told my dad, I was 8 years old, went to my first Pirate game. And I told my dad what I wanted to do with the rest of my life. I said, I want to be in professional baseball. And him and my mom, if it wasn't for them, there's an old Italian saying, if you ever see a turtle on top of a fence post, he didn't get there alone. Wherever it is that I'm at, if it wasn't for them, it would have never happened.
Yeah.
But it isn't that I was looking for a backup. It was just always baseball, baseball, baseball. Okay. Things didn't work out as a player, but they worked out as a coach and as a scout.
Mhm.
But in 2007, I believe it was, or 2008, I was at one of my friend's house, Vince Caplack. He had a birthday party for his son. And I just looked at the Sports Illustrated and they had, where are they now? Well, they had a section on Greg Norman, who now I guess has become a little controversial, but with the live golf,
Yeah.
tournaments or whatever. But anyway, he wrote a book and I read that book and I knew he had clothing line. I knew he had a wine, but he had like 7 or 8, 12 different things under the umbrella of Great White Shark Enterprises. So I decided, you know what, I can do different things other than just the landscape business, other than just baseball. So that's when I said, maybe not on that level, making $400 million a year, whatever the hell he makes, but I guys like him, Magic Johnson, Mario Andretti, Dan Marino, Alex Rodriguez. I watch or read something from Alex Rodriguez every single day. Okay.
Yeah.
Because he's been very successful in business and doing multiple things. So I said to myself, I can do those things. So that's when I branched out to not just coaching, not just scouting. And each year I keep telling my wife, this is the last thing I'm going to do. But like I'm starting a podcast network with 2 other partners. So we're working on that. So I enjoy, like my logo here, it has arrows.
Yeah.
My company, that we do different things. And I enjoy it. It's just like in baseball, whenever I played MLB, I didn't play the same position more than 3 games in a row. I never got tired of playing third base, pitching short or right.
Yeah.
My friends used to say, man, I'm tired of playing the outfield. So it's like in business, I do so many different things. I don't spend 8 hours doing one thing, which is fine if you do that. I'm not saying it's wrong, but I enjoy doing different things. And sometimes this is doing better than that. Sometimes this is down, but this is going better. And I just enjoy doing multiple things and having a variety of things under my umbrella.
Yeah. For any athlete entrepreneur listening to this, is there one skill that you would recommend for them to learn, in terms of, whether it's project management, learning how to, do Excel, just understanding like the scope of work when it comes to business, how to make money? What is that one skill that you think like,
all of that, but find somebody, and it can be virtual. Like I said, I cannot tell you how important those guys that I just mentioned are to my careers. Okay. I see how they do it. Okay. And another guy, Donnie Lalonde, former light heavyweight champion boxer, Sugar Ray Leonard, Boom Boom Mancini. I can go on and on. Jerry Cooney, Rocky Marciano, and not just all Italian guys either, but how they manage their money, Jerry Cooney says, save for a rainy day. Dan Marino says you can do more, you can always do more. Mario Andretti's line is, if you have everything under control, you're not going fast enough. Or for me, I always say, keep accomplishing. So I think you have to have a drive. You have to have passion for what you're doing, know what you're doing. Okay. So, and those things that you said, and another thing, like Shaquille O'Neal says, it's not how much you make, it's how much you save.
Yeah.
And both of us have seen athletes over the years who've made tons of money, and unfortunately things didn't go well for whatever reason, their fault, not their fault. But so I would just tell any athlete entrepreneur, use your name, use your career as a launching pad. Okay, get your name out there and figure out what it is you want to do, or multiple things that you want to do. Find a mentor, and you don't have to know. Fran Tarkenton's another one, former NFL quarterback. Look at what they've done, the path they took, the ups and downs, the hits, the wins, the losses, and study those guys and And that's been such an inspiration to me, and really has helped me out a lot.
No, I really like that. I want to get into coaching a little bit because you have an eye for talent, whether it's a scout, whether it's a coach. What do you look for when, recruiting a young talent? The baseball draft just happened. So I'm sure you had a lot of insight into that, a lot of impact on who may have got drafted, who may not have got drafted. What are some things that you look for?
Number one, in anything that I do, the old saying in real estate is what? The three most important things in real estate are good location, good location, good location. I say the three most important things in coaching, in business, in life is good people. First thing I look for to play for me, and as a scout, if I'm going to send a player to another organization, is he a good person? That's
Mm-hmm.
number one. Then talent wise, for baseball, you look at the tools. The five, you look for a hit. Can he hit for an average? Can he hit for power? Can he run? Can he throw? Can he field? And for me though, I
Is
remember
that the
one.
five tool? Because I
Yeah,
heard about that. Is that's the five tool strategy?
that's the five tools. Yes,
Okay.
and hate to sound like an old man. I'll be 58 in a couple months, but in the 70s, 80s, and a piece of the 90s, there were a lot of five tool players. Now, in my opinion, there's not as many, but that's another story. I remember one time I was doing a camp for a friend of mine who was a Yankee scout in New York. I want to say 2007 or 8. I was about 100 yards from where I parked to where the baseball field was. And I saw this kid, he was playing second base. And I just saw him floating, just like with you at soccer. You
Yeah.
see a guy, when they run, they don't stomp, they glide. And
Yeah.
this kid, he had great feet. I look at their athleticism first, fluidity when they throw, and again their feet. Do they stomp or do they glide? As a hitter, at the risk of sounding funny, I'm really, really, really good at teaching hitting and picking up bad habits in hitting and
Mhm.
holes in hitting. So I look for those. And so that's what I look for: a good person first and foremost. I
Yeah.
look for athleticism. Okay. And of course, those tools, how many of those tools does he have? And the first thing I learned as a scout back in 2001, I had three great scouts James Gamble, the owner of our scouting company, who gave me the break of a lifetime, and two scouts, Ernie Rodriguez and Ruben Rodriguez, who were in the major leagues for years. And they said err on the side of the less. So we use a 20 to 80 Major League Baseball rating scale. If you don't want to, everybody's a 50, everybody's a 60.
Yeah.
I was we are good evaluators, accurate, because scouting is credibility. You know,
Exactly.
if I tell you this guy is a 50, he damn well better be a 50, because if not, he doesn't want that player. But guess who else he doesn't want? Me. Guess who else he doesn't want? Our company.
Yeah. No, that's a great insight. Before we get into the business of sports, I kind of want to ask you, because you're, an expert in baseball, we don't hear a lot about baseball players doing like the business stuff. Is there a reason for that? Or is it just, it's just kind of their low key profile because of the traditions around baseball, kind of keep it simple?
I really don't. That's a great question. Again, I mentioned several athletes just now and one baseball player, Alex
Yeah.
Rodriguez. That's it. Um, Geez, I'm trying to think. I mean, Derek Jeter was in the ownership group for a while. There's Jim Palmer is
Yeah.
another one who years ago he was the jockey representative. He in his the jockey underwear thing, and he was a
Yeah.
he was a spokesman for several companies and a speaker, and did a lot of commercials. So he went that route. Some guys go that route. Some guys open up a business like an Alex Rodriguez, A Rod Corp, with
Yeah.
real estate and business, and he also announces and things like that. He owns the Minnesota Timberwolves.
Yeah.
So yeah, I never thought about that. That's a great question. I don't. There was a friend of mine who pitched for the Pirates years ago, Jim Rooker, who when he retired, he was an announcer. When he left that, he became a restaurant owner and an author. But really, I'm sure they're out there, but
Yeah.
maybe they just make so much money.
That's true too.
So that
Yeah.
way,
So no, it's talking about, that's great, because obviously MLB players, we see the long contracts, guaranteed contracts, and for high salaries. But on the other spectrum. You have the minor league players that don't really make enough. I know
Right.
there's a recent article with the commissioner saying, that is a livable wage. You scout young talent, any advice for them, whether they sign a signing bonus, get drafted, and then sent to the minor leagues, or they get sent straight to the minor leagues? What are some ways that they can, be smart with their money to hopefully, I don't want to say last until they hopefully make that big break, but for them to be, of ease of mind as it becomes like from a money standpoint?
Number one, know that it's a quick trip from the penthouse to the outhouse. As Ray Boom Boom Mancini, boxing Hall of Famer, says, one punch is all it takes, one injury.
Yeah.
Joe Theismann, the old Washington Redskins quarterback, said, and I forgot what year it was that he got hurt, but he said it's at 9 o'clock. He was on Monday Night Football. 9 o'clock, I was a starting quarterback for Washington. 9:08, I was done. He snapped his ankle. Now he's another one who went into announcing and other businesses, and that television hosts, stuff like that. But number one, save your money. Number two, you had a show the other day. What? Name, image, and license. Work on that. A lot of guys before didn't have that. Now you have that available to you.
Yeah.
Utilize your platform. Get your work. Do self-promoting. The team isn't going to promote you. You have to do it. Okay. There's a sugar packet that I got in college years ago, and I still have it. It said, "He who has a thing to sell and goes and whispers in a well is not apt to get the dollars as he who climbs a tree and hollers." So promote yourself.
I like that.
You're your own business. Okay. Just like there's a lot of soccer players, but how many are doing what you do?
Yeah.
Set yourself apart. So, when it's game time, let's say, you're at the ballpark from 11 to 7. That's great. When it's over, then start concentrating on the business of you.
Yeah.
And then, and again, do whatever it is you can. Meet people. Magic Johnson used to say that whenever he would have a trip to Seattle or Minnesota, he would call up or in Atlanta, he would call up the head of Coca-Cola. "Hey, I want to meet with you." Now you say, well, he's Magic. He can get a meeting with anybody. Well, if you're an athlete, whatever level, you can get a meeting. Call somebody. If you have a road game in Tennessee, see who the big dog is there, see who the businessman is there, and give them a call and say, "I'd like to talk to you about business." Isaiah and Magic did that with a lot of people. Isaiah Thomas did that with a lot of people. And I know I've done that as well. And so that's important. Meeting people. I don't like the word networking, kind of has a bad connotation, but meet people, let people know who you are, promote yourself. And again, we both know people who made a lot of money, but you can't make 10, 15 million and spend 18, 19, 20.
Yeah, that's true.
You just can't. It's that common sense. And like I tell my players, I tell my daughter, it may sound simplistic, but I said it about an hour ago. I was telling son, excuse me, instead of buying a $300 mailbox, buy one for 25. Is you're going to get the same damn bills in that one as you. Now, I'm not saying have a terrible life. I'm not saying don't go out. I'm not saying that, but it's good to have a good meal, but you can't have 30 lobsters and 10 plates of spaghetti. You know what I'm trying to say? Moderation, be smart. And another thing, Cus D'Amato, the former trainer and mentor of Mike Tyson, used to tell him, fear is a good thing. Fear is a good thing. And Fran Tarkenton always says, wake up with a sense of desperation. Okay. Damon John from the Shark Tank, he says, stay broke.
Yeah.
Okay. Have that broke mentality. And that may sound maybe too much on that end, but I don't. I never feel like I have enough. And it's not greed. It's not greed. My dad used to say, keep the wolf away from the door as far as you can. So I would tell young athletes, again, you're making a name for yourself in sports, get to know people, find a mentor, save the money you have, get involved in some other businesses because you don't know. And as you climb that ladder, then you can, like Magic says, okay, before I was on this level in business and I was on this level in sports and basketball. Then I became this level in business and this level and that level, and just keep climbing. And it takes a lot of work.
Yeah. You're a man of many quotes and many stories. Do you have a favorite money quote?
Well, again, my dad used to say, keep the wolf away from the door.
Hmm.
That one. And, you know, Gene Simmons, the guy from Kiss,
Yeah.
he grew up very poor. And whenever he got his first, I believe it was like a $10 million paycheck, and he showed his mother, and who he adored his mother. And she looked at it and she said, "That's wonderful. Now what are you going to do? Again,
Yeah.
what's next?"
What's next?
So, and again, it's not to be greedy or show off or look at my watch, look at my house. No, it's to provide for your family. And, when the pandemic hit, thank God we were good. A lot of people weren't, and I felt bad for people. But as far as the quote's concerned, geez, I do have a ton of quotes. But that one, I'll tell you one thing I don't like, one quote I don't like is whenever people say, they say, you can't take it with you. You can't. Well, hell, I'm not trying to take it with me. It
Yeah.
isn't. They're going to put me in a casket and throw money in there. Maybe a few bucks. But I want to. I don't care about that. I want to take care of things now. Or then
Yeah.
people will say, well, money isn't everything. Or they'll say, what's more important, your health, your money? Well, hell yeah, your health is important. That's like saying a movie. What's more important, your right foot or your left foot? Well, they're
Yeah.
both important.
Yeah, that's true. And then I really want to talk about, some of your business principles, because you have a lot of businesses, you're very successful, you know a lot of people, you're like a master connector. What are some business practices when it comes to negotiating, doing deals, leveraging your price, that you would recommend for an athlete, whether it's on the field or off the field? We talk about brand sponsorships, we talk about endorsements, but even from the business standpoint, like what's some valuable advice that you'd be willing to share?
You can't be the only winner. Everybody involved. It isn't like me and you do a deal. I got to beat him up. No, I want you to win too. I just talked to somebody again about an hour and a half ago about this new project we're doing. And hell yeah, I want to win. I want to make money on it, but I want you to make money on it. I want our sponsors to do well. I want everybody to do well. Why can't, the old saying, I want to have my cake and eat it too. Well, why can't you have your cake and eat it too? Why can't I win and the other person win? And another thing, as far as negotiating and things like that, and it's happened to me a lot. Like, for example, I was asked to do a voiceover. Okay. I've never done a voiceover before.
Mm-hmm.
So how much do you charge? Well, I wasn't prepared for it because I didn't know I was going to be asked that.
Yeah.
So I thought of, again, Damon John from Shark Tank. He said, he who gives the first price always loses. Right.
So, you need to come out with a book, another book.
Another book. I'm thinking of, I was told to do that. If I,
Claudio's colloquialisms.
I'm going to. My players call it Claudioisms. If I dropped a pencil, there was a saying behind it, an Italian saying. But I didn't give. I said, look, now when I speak, yes, there's a range.
Yeah.
But you're going to be able to charge more to a company than you will to a high school. And I know that, but I'm not trying to break the bank either. And maybe sometimes I'll get burned, but I will trust the other person. I'll say, look, sometimes I will give a price. Like whenever I do batting lessons, I'm really good at it. So I'm going to give you a great lesson and I'm going to charge you. But I don't go crazy. I don't mock you. I don't kill you with it. But so I want them to be comfortable with whatever they give me from sponsorship or for speaking or for the voiceover. And sometimes, like I said, it's happened quite a bit where I don't know what to charge somebody because maybe I've never done that, or I don't know their budget, you know, and then they'll say, geez, I never want them to say, well, that's too much. And then you got to start haggling back and
going
forth.
down.
So I say, what now? I'll say, good. What is your number? And if they say it, and if I like it, I'll take it. If I don't, so, well, you know what? Can we maybe up that a little bit? Or maybe I won't speak as long or be in attendance as long. Okay.
Yeah.
So maybe instead of me being there at a camp for 3 hours, maybe I'll be there for 2. Can we work something out? But in all honesty, I really try to do whatever I can. I'm flattered that they want me to be a part of their company, of their whatever. So I really try hard to make it a win-win for everybody involved.
No, that's what it's all about. I really appreciate that because I wish I would have heard that, a year ago. I had my first like corporate speaking engagement, and I was like a deer in the headlights. And they said, "So what's your budget?" And it was kind of similar where I said, "I don't know," and it was a lot of back and forth. But I love that quote that you said. You mind repeating that quote that you said about he who says the first offer ends up losing?
David John.
Yeah.
He who gives the first number always loses.
Yeah, so I ended up giving the first number and I ended up losing, but luckily to my just by fortunate luck, and the corporation was really nice about it.
Yeah.
They came back and offered a higher margin. So
Yeah, see, again, that's what I said about trust.
yeah,
Good people. They were good people. They liked you though too. Because
yeah,
if you come off arrogant or cocky, confidence is one thing. But if you'd come off bad, maybe they just said, "Yeah, okay, we'll take." No, they liked you, and
hmm,
that's very important. Very
yeah.
important.
That's really cool. And, like moving forward, you have a good eyeball on, the landscape of sports business. Obviously, you've done it in sports, in baseball, but now as you continue to, explore different opportunities across sports business, what are some things that you're most excited about moving forward?
Number one, I am so I love doing what I do with Carnegie Mellon. As I said, I'm there for 17 years. We have a
Yeah.
great team coming back. We have good freshmen coming in, so I'm excited about that. The Global Scouting Bureau and James Gamble gave me an opportunity of a lifetime in January of 2001 to make our dreams. When I say our, my parents and me, our dreams come true. I mean, my mom had passed, but my dad was still here. So that, and then I'm really excited about the boxing show. Luther Dupree Jr. and Smoking Jim Frazier. First of all, you talk about good people. They're not friends. They're not co-hosts or whatever. They're family to me,
Yeah.
and I love both of them. And we have a chance to get picked up. We got picked up by the WBC and Vive Television Network, but there's things in the works for us to go even bigger. And I'm really, really excited about that. I'm really excited about this new podcast network. We're going to have several different shows on a network, podcasts, and I'm really excited about that. Then there's a guy who I did some speaking for his company. They have a very big company, offices all over the country. I'm trying to. I spoke to the one in Pittsburgh, but I'd like to speak to as many of the offices as I possibly can about manager employee relationships, which is
Oh, I
kind of
love it.
the theme of my book. But and the other thing that I'm really excited about is he wants me to speak to high schools and their senior athletes about going to the next level. So I'm like, every time the phone rings, is it him? So I'm very,
Yeah, that's amazing.
very excited about that, and maybe I will come up with a book of quotes. I'm
Oh no,
always
you definitely coming up. I give it 2 years when that comes out for sure. Yeah, most definitely. That's really exciting. Claudio, I really appreciate you taking the time. For anyone that wants to connect with you, how can they do so?
Well, you can go to my website, and that's claudioreilsono.com. I have my shows there, the podcast, my book, and the coaching business and all that stuff. You can go to that and check out all that. Then you can go to Claudio Reilsono TV on YouTube, and also for the boxing show, which is again the great boxing show. A couple websites: Vive Television. Wait, what is it? VIVE.tv.network. The boxing authorities, and we just on another web channel box. I'm sorry, you asked me. I'm telling you,
No, no, that's what we're
channel
here
box
for.
is a great app, and click on the WBC live link. So that's channel box. Click on the WBC live link, and then keepboxingfree.com is another avenue you can check out our show. And what else? What else? I think that's about it. So, but yeah, you can. I'm easy to get a hold of.
Perfect. And we're going to have all that information in the show notes. Last question, because I forgot to ask you.
All
You
right.
are a collegiate coach. What are your thoughts about NIL and some things that we can change? Obviously, you're at Carnegie Mellon, top school when it comes to education, but also, I mean, it's a competitive school as well. What are some things after year one of NIL that you think could be implemented or focused on moving forward?
Number one, I like it. I mean, why shouldn't I know it's a controversial thing, I guess, and people say, "Well, a college student should." look, it's their business. As I said, the
Mhm.
business of you, you're the business.
Yeah.
Why shouldn't you benefit from that? Now, then it's the crazy thing. It's schools with the big money are going to get, is what they say, the richer get rich, the rich
Yeah.
get richer, and all that. As far as what could be better, um, I'm not as well versed in it. That's why I was watching your show. I'm
I
not as well
appreciate it.
versed in it to say this is wrong, this is right. I will say that I do like it that they get paid. I remember years ago, the Fab Five for Michigan,
Yeah.
their shirts were being sold, the shorts and they weren't getting a nickel out of it, you know,
Yeah.
or O'Brien, I believe, O'Bannon at
Yeah.
O'Bannon
Ed O'Bannon.
UCLA. Hey, wait a minute, that's me on there. You know, why should anybody who says no, they shouldn't get paid? Well, that person who says that, how about if you work so hard and you were somebody, an entertainer, a singer, whatever, or a lawyer, or whatever, and
Yeah.
somebody used your face and you're at home watching TV and you say, wait a minute, that's me. I'm not getting paid for that. Right?
Yeah.
Everybody wants paid for their tools, for their whatever they can get paid for. So I'm all for it.
No, that's really great advice. And you know, someone that's lived it like yourself, you know, it's always great to get insight from you. And I appreciate you once again for taking time, you know, in your schedule, you know, like I don't know how it's possible, but we're gonna have all your information in the show notes. Once again, thank you so much, Claudio. Make sure you check out all his ventures and more, and the ones that are going to continue to blossom, and the ones that he hasn't yet started, but will start. It's amazing, and that's it for this week. Make sure you guys please subscribe, leave a review, and rate. It helps us continue to get wonderful guests like Claudio on the show. But with
And you're
that being
doing a
said,
great job. I love this
thank
show,
you,
and you're a good
appreciate it.
man. And I wish you all the success. And you're nowhere near where you're going to be. I know that for a fact. You're doing a great job.
Thank you, sir. That really means a lot. That really means a lot. But that's it for this week, and we'll definitely catch up with you all soon.